the plane was still floating and had not been submerged at all, carried the plane and continues to carry the plane south in the Hudson past what's known here as the Chelsea Piers toward the tip of Manhattan. Now, it's still about 5 miles across the Hudson over here, but the plane is still heading down south. We're seeing a number of helicopters following the route of that plane, and we're doing the same thing so we can throw up an antenna on our live truck and get on live as soon as we can. I'm looking out on the river now. I see police boats also following the probable route of this aircraft as it continues to float. And as you pointed out before, this landed and did not degrade to the point where water swamped the fuselage itself and sunk it. It continued to float and continues to float.
Yeah, Mike, it's actually a blessing and a curse. The blessing was that it stayed together. That saves.
Here you go. Here's a better look. Now we can really look at it much more closely. This appears to be a U.S. Airways plane that you can see. My colleague Tom Costello, who covers aviation for us, is joining me right now from Washington, D.C. And Tom, what have you been able to gather in terms of new information?
Peter, I've got a call into the FAA. They don't have anything immediate, but that's because this is breaking as we speak. This is it looks to me like you're looking at a regional jet. And this is really one of the mainstays of U.S. Airways as they fly into and out of New York. Listen, I think you have to look at the fact that they've got one door open in the front, and thus far it looks like the plane, the actual fuselage, is above water. You've got to right now be worried about the people inside, if there are people inside, and exposure to that very frigid water in Hudson Bay. You see there, it looks to me like you've got New York City Fire Department boats that are right alongside that plane, but that certainly looks like a regional jet to me. They're made by both Bombardier and also by Embraer. They can carry anywhere from 75 to 150, depending on the size. I'm not sure what size this one is, but it is a mainstay of operations going into and out of LaGuardia Airport. LaGuardia is U.S. Airways' hub in New York City, and this is exactly the plane that they fly into and out of the entire Northeast corridor from Boston down to D.C., might also be extending out into Philadelphia and Vermont, elsewhere. This is a very serious operation. Peter, do you know exactly where along the Hudson is? I find it curious that the plane is down in the Hudson River and not the East River.
This is, we can tell you a little bit more, Tom. We know that this is happening not so far away from the retired USS carrier, the Intrepid, that is on the lower west side of Manhattan in the Hudson River right now. I think as we look at these live pictures, courtesy of the chopper at WNBC, our affiliate in New York City, you can see individuals in life jackets. It appears clear that some of these people have been helped at this point. Lester Holt, my colleague, is now joining us.
You know, we've got some breaking news that's coming into us right now. We are now able to report, and we've been following this for quite a while, we want to make sure we could confirm it, that a plane has apparently gone down in the Hudson. As you know, anybody who's familiar with New York City, there are several airports that surround it, LaGuardia, of course, being the most prominent. You see the tail of the plane right there. As you take a look at this picture, you can see some of the ferries are coming near it now. Those are those ferries that transport people back and forth, usually between New Jersey and the downtown section of New York City. The plane sits in what is apparently not that much depth of water. You can see the tail. You see the cabin of the plane. In fact, the entire plane is visible at this point. We don't know if a rescue operation is underway or has been. We're going to stay with this picture now and make sure that it plays out. Michael, you were sharing with me some information later. Is this the note you just handed me? All right, here we go. New York City firefighters, according to the Associated Press, have officially responded to the report of an airplane down in the Hudson River. But as you look at these pictures, all right, there come the authorities now. I can tell you from living in New York for quite a while that what we're looking at here are not authorities. Those are private ferry boats that ferry people back and forth across New Jersey. But now you see at the top of your picture there, now we're starting to get some of the authorities coming onto the scene. And you see it right there at the top right of your picture. That's one of the either police boats or fire rescue boats that's coming to the scene. It does appear that the plane is listing. Take a look at how it looked a moment ago when I was first looking at it, and look at it now. And I guess what we need to examine here as we look at this. If there is a rescue, whether they can get the people out, whether it's be depressurized enough to be able to open the doors so that the people can get out of the plane. And obviously, we can all say a prayer that that plane doesn't submerge with people still on board, which is tough to tell right now as we're looking at that, whether that's actually going on. It does look a little different than when we first saw it. It does look like the back part of the plane is, in fact, where the tail is starting to go under. Give me the information again, Angie, on the flight. This is flight 1549, and I was right in my supposition that it had probably left from LaGuardia. Charlotte, it was from LaGuardia to Charlotte, heading for the Carolinas, and the FAA is now telling us that there may have been something that caused the plane to go down. You know, oftentimes what is the most dangerous part of a flight is the take.